In this video, we're going to talk about Project Odysseus, where it is, where it's going, and what might happen in the near future. Alright, Project Odysseus. The first project I really set out to make an example of myself and figure out some problems, figure out what I wanted to do, and figure out how I wanted to do things, and figure out how to work with a new game engine using Game Maker Studio 2. It's going well. It's been going well for a long time, but unfortunately, it's not going as well as I would have hoped. I'm getting a lot done, but the more and more I try and work on showing my work and getting better at showing my work and figuring out how to solve more complex problems, the slower and slower things are getting. So it is very likely that the project is going to slow down in terms of when new updates come out and when new features come in. As of right now, I have a few major features that I'm working on. Mostly complete is the NPC following system, where you can ask NPCs to follow you and they will transfer between rooms. I'm in the midst of working on housing interiors, so when houses spawn on the map, you can walk inside and find people inside, and they will have lovely things for you to see and do. Procedurally generating all of the houses and trying to make them make sense is actually proving more difficult than I would have hoped, so hopefully that comes online in the near future. Beyond that, the only major systems I have planned out are adding actual combat AI to the NPCs that you want to go around and kick in the knees, and then an inventory system where you can find objects in the world, pick those up, and move them from place to place and take them to NPCs that happen to be wanting them or missing them. So we can now have NPCs that have lost items or people that they want you to bring back to them, and that way you can have more context to who you're dealing with and what they want you to do and why they want you to do it and everything like that. More complex logic can be built into that. At the end of those systems being completed and some minor quality of life updates here and there, I'll probably end up putting Odysseus on back burner in hopes of starting another project. This isn't because that I don't like Odysseus as a project or that I don't like where it's going or what the feedback I've gotten from it, but I do want to make sure that I put myself on some time limits, put myself on some deadlines, and within those deadlines try and hit a feature set, then intentionally put the project on hold so that I can come back to it with fresh eyes at a later date after having worked on other projects, and hopefully with those fresh eyes see the project in a different light and see what is and isn't working from a different perspective, having more experience on other projects. The goal is to, at the end of 2 or 3 years of doing this kind of iteration practice, working on one project for 6 to 8 months, then moving on to another project for 6 to 8 months, isn't to just constantly be starting new projects, because that's how you end up never finishing anything. The goal is to have several projects in a state where I feel as though I could get it to a polished, finished state, and then from that list have a community decide which projects I should prioritize and consequently really dive into, and also projects that I've fallen in love with along the way. And with a slew of projects in this nice alpha or even potentially beta state, I'm hoping to get a bunch of different problems along the way from different projects that just have different needs, but also learn how to make certain things better. So if I come back 3 or 4 projects down the line and look back at Project Odysseus here, it's entirely possible I think to myself, I need to remake all of this because this is mostly garbage in terms of scripting and how it's made. And that's entirely possible, and I accept that. We all try and grow as creatives and as intelligent people in our community. The intent here is not to just leave it behind forever, but to put it on the shelf intentionally and come back to it with fresh eyes later, where I know more, I can do more with it, and I can have a better appreciation for all the configuration, how things are set up. So ideally, by the end of February, I'll have a nice Alpha 2 or beta state for Project Odysseus, and can distribute that and get feedback on it and have people interested in it while I dive into the next project and start learning new lessons, start figuring out how to configure projects better, and start thinking about better ways to make things for the future. So that's the latest on Project Odysseus. The beginning of the end, if you will. I'm not leaving it alone forever. I'm not just going to throw it away. I'm going to try and come back to it with fresh eyes later. Don't panic. If you're really that invested in Project Odysseus, I do plan to come back to it. I do plan on giving it a final title at some point. But if you're interested in updates that may come out in the future or anything else that I'll be working on in the future, please subscribe to the channel and get updates as you can. If you have opinions on whether or not I should keep going on Odysseus or what projects you think I should probably investigate in the future, go ahead and leave a comment on the video. And I'll look forward to hearing those thoughts and talking to future people in the future. But until next time, have fun and keep working.